Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think we're still a minute early, so you are welcome to just say hi so that we know you are there. I'm glad to be with you and share a few ideas regarding financial scams. Can everybody hear me? Is everything fine? Okay, we will be starting in about a minute, then I'll get going. Okay, guys, on my watch it says 6 o'clock, so time for us to get going. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your time, and I hope what we talk about tonight will be beneficial and you'll learn some things, and it will help you and save you money and save you from not stepping into a pothole and losing money in the future. So the topic for tonight is to talk about financial scams, and firstly, what is a financial scam, what kind of scams are out there, and then how to spot them and how to make sure, because a lot of them are very disguised behind business opportunities and investment opportunities and these kind of things. So we need to be diligent and we need to make sure that we actually understand these things so that we don't lose our hard-earned cash. So in these times that we are in, a lot of people are desperate. A lot of people are taking strain financially. Cash flow is limited. Income streams have dried up. People have lost their jobs. They've been retrenched. And that desperation always creates a lot of scams. People and opportunity seekers, they find a way to get people to give them their hard-earned cash. So in this time, as ever, but in this time specifically, we do need to make sure that we are diligent and we make sure that we are educated. The one thing I'm not going to talk about tonight, if you guys are interested in getting more information regarding that, and we can have a discussion about those kind of things, is phishing scams, email scams, all of those kind of things. I do think that, and I hope that most of us are not that gullible that if we find an email that says we've inherited $10 million from some Saudi sheikh and we have to pay 4,000 Rand to get the money. I hope most of us aren't gullible enough to fall for those kind of things. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that. Those are quite easy to spot, that it's some Nigerian sitting behind a computer somewhere sending out these emails. And hoping people fall for it, and the desperation gets them to pay money to get money. So what we are going to focus on tonight is 4 different areas of financial scams or financial opportunities, and just look at the merits of each. The first one is going to be stokvels and investment clubs. I think all of us have heard about stokvels. They say there's about 800,000 registered stokvels in South Africa. We're going to talk a little bit about network marketing and multi-level marketing opportunities, or MLM opportunities. I'm going to talk about pyramid schemes and then Ponzi schemes. And if you look at network marketing, a lot of network marketing businesses are being looked at as if they are pyramid schemes, and Ponzi schemes. So we need to understand what the differences are so we can spot those pyramid and Ponzi schemes that are hidden within network marketing companies. So the first one we need to talk about is stokvels and investment clubs. So the first thing we need to understand is that a stokvel is actually a legitimate legal system in South Africa. So you can start a stokvel, you can become involved in a stokvel, and it's completely legal. There's no issue with that in South Africa. How a stokvel works is a couple of people get together, let's say it's 12 people, and every month each of them contributes a specific amount, equal amount, into the stokvel. So let's say, for example, to make it simple, every person pays 1,000 Rand a month into the stokvel. There's 12 people. So every 12th month, you will receive whatever's in that pot, that 12,000 Rand. So if everybody contributes 1,000 Rand, there's 12,000 Rand every month that comes in. And once every 12 months or once a year, you will receive the 12,000 from the other people. A big thing with that is, and to be sure that it's a stokvel and it's above board, is that nobody gets paid for bringing in new members. So that's a big one. The moment you are paid to recruit new members into the stokvel from the money that gets put into the stokvel, then there's some red flags you need to make sure and ask a few questions. The second one is investment clubs. So how an investment clubs works is a group of people get together. They then decide that they want to invest in a specific investment, whether it is an investment in a structured investment or anything like that. They contribute equally to this investment, and then they also share equally in the returns. Again, nobody's getting paid to recruit people into the scheme. So most of these stokvels investment clubs are basically forced savings vehicles, more than a money-making opportunity. With a stokvel, you will never get more money out of the stokvel than what you've put in, because if there's 12 people, you put 1,000 Rand in every month, and you get every 12 months, you get 12,000 Rand. You would have put in 12,000 and gotten 12,000 out. In an investment club, you will get the money that you put in plus whatever return on investment there is. Okay, before we go into network marketing, guys, those of you who are listening, if you have questions, please ask those questions. I do have it open so I can see. Thanks, Yapi, for reminding me. I can see the questions coming up. And if I don't have time during the talk to answer the questions, I will revert back and try and answer all the questions at the end. So please ask those questions. I am here, so you can use me to answer those questions for you. The second one is network marketing, or MLM. So this is something that a lot of us have been approached with. We hear a lot of network marketing opportunities that come on, and I've researched this quite a bit over the last 21 years. So network marketing is actually a legitimate business model. And what it does is it's a marketing or a business system that companies use, whereby they find independent distributors or salespeople to market their products directly to the public. These distributors are then encouraged to recruit their own salespeople also as distributors. And this creates a network of distributors on which you will earn overriders, incentives, and bonuses. So basically, you become an independent salesperson or independent distributor for that company, and you can then sell their products for a profit, and you can recruit other salespeople into your network. And the more salespeople you have, the more leverage you create, and you receive overrider on those sales of those distributors and salespeople. So it's a legitimate business model, like most sales organizations. People always look at the structure and they say, well, the structure is a pyramid because you've got one guy at the top, he recruits 3 or 4 salespeople who recruits 3 or 4 more, and it becomes a pyramid. But the fact that it's got the structure of a pyramid doesn't make it a pyramid scheme. If you look at any sales organization, a sales organization has that structure. If you've got a national sales manager with a regional manager, with the district managers, with the branch managers, with the salespeople, you'll see that structure all the time. So that's just the natural structure of any sales organization. So it doesn't necessarily make something a pyramid scheme if the structure looks like a pyramid. So a legitimate network marketing company is an opportunity for people to earn extra income or multiple sources of income. The problem is that this structure is very often used as a disguise for a pyramid or a Ponzi scheme. So most pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes disguise themselves as network marketing companies. And that's where the problem comes in. How do you make sure that the one that you are looking at isn't a pyramid and a Ponzi scheme? And we'll get to that. I'll give you a few questions later on that you can ask to make sure that you're making the right decision. So let's quickly look at a pyramid scheme. So how a pyramid scheme works is you typically join an opportunity for an initial fee, which is usually disguised as an administration fee, a training fee, something like that. And then you contribute monthly for an illegitimate or a fake product. So what do I mean with an illegitimate or a fake product? That is a product or a service that offers no or very little tangible benefit, or is much more expensive than the value it gives. So if I have this example, I remember years and years ago, there were a few students at Tux University and University of Pretoria. And what they did is they got this ingenious idea to print certificates. So they basically went to a printer and they printed certificates, which cost them R5 to print for each certificate. And then they started selling those certificates to people for R300 per certificate. And those people could then buy certificates from them and sell them to other people again and earn overrider on those people. Now, that's a typical example of how a pyramid scheme works, because that certificate in and of itself has no value. There's no tangible benefit for the person to buy it, and the certificate itself is not worth R300. So if you look at a pyramid scheme, usually the product is where you can determine if this is a legitimate business or not. And we'll ask the questions. I'll show you the questions a little bit later. Okay, so you are then paid a percentage of the money paid by other members every month. So usually you pay every month for this product, and because it's not a legitimate product, you basically just pay money into the scheme or into the system. And then when you recruit other people, you will get a percentage of the money they contribute to the system. So usually there's no sale of the product that will take place to any person that is a non-member of the scheme, because the product has no or little value. So let's look at that certificate example again. If I come to you and say, please buy this certificate from me for R300, then you're going to say, are you insane? Why would I want a R300 piece of paper? But if I tell you, listen, if you join this business, you have the opportunity to recruit other people who buy certificates from you for R300, and you will earn money from those sales. Then you would look at buying that certificate. So the reason you're buying into this is not because the certificate is valuable. It is because you actually want to have the opportunity to buy or to get other people involved. Therefore, 99% of the sales in these kind of schemes happen within the network. Very, very little people buy it from outside the network. The problem with this is more and more people will have to be recruited all the time to sustain the model, because every time you recruit people, they have to pay out more money and more money, which means more people have to be recruited to keep the model sustainable. And eventually this model collapses. And most people that has put money into that will never get their money back. Let's look at Ponzi schemes. So a Ponzi scheme is an investment scheme. So where a pyramid scheme is like a business opportunity, a Ponzi scheme is usually disguised as some kind of an investment. The last few years, has been quite a few of these Ponzi schemes masquerading as network marketing businesses. And there's been so many of them coming onto the market and people buying into those kind of things. So let's quickly have a look at Ponzi schemes. So what happens with a Ponzi scheme is you're usually required to invest in an investment vehicle or a business that will give you unbelievable returns on your investment. So typically, you will put money into an investment, a pure Ponzi scheme. You will put a capital amount in, and they will guarantee or promise you unbelievable returns, like 3% per month, or 5% per month, or whatever the return is that they promise you. These returns that they promise you, which is guaranteed most of the time, are either shown to you on paper or paid out to you monthly. So they will send you a statement that shows how much your money has grown, or they will pay this money out to you monthly. So let's say, for example, you invest 100,000 Rand into the scheme, you will get 3,000 Rand a month from that investment. Okay, so they hide this by presumably investing in some up-and-coming sector or new development or something like that. So they make it sound like it's an investment in something that most people won't invest in. It's this new thing, it's this new up-and-coming area or sector in the market that they've now looked at, and there's this massive returns that you can share in. For example, they'll use Bitcoin as a method of investing. They'll use gold, they'll use crowdfunding, loyalty programs, any of those kind of things, they will look at and say, we've got this new system of investing which gives us these enormous returns which you can share in. A typical red flag for this is also when you buy yourself up to different levels to earn more by investing more money or reinvesting your earnings. So if they tell you that if you invest 100,000 Rand, you become a silver member, and then you earn 10% of everybody that you get to invest. But if you invest 150,000, you become a gold member, and now you earn 15% or 20% on people you invest. That's usually a typical red flag, because they then want you to invest more. So they want to motivate you to invest more and more money, because the more money they get in from you, the longer they can keep this scheme running. Also, a lot of these companies would say to you, listen, you can take out your money at any point. You can get that 3% return of yours. But if you leave that money, if you reinvest it, you buy yourself up to different levels and therefore will earn more money in the long run. Again, that is a motivation to keep this system going for as long as possible, because if they don't have to pay out the money, they've got more money to keep the system running. Okay. So what then happens is, once you put that money in, you will start earning your returns. You will see it, and then you are encouraged to get other people to invest as well. And you will get paid a commission on those investments. So they will say, well, if you go find other people to buy into this, buy up to gold level or whatever, you will get paid a commission, whether it's a percentage, whether it's a bonus, whatever the case may be. Again, you will receive your return as long as more people join. And that proves that the system is working. And that's how they catch more people. Because what happens? Somebody approaches you with this and you say to them, listen, how do I know this is a legitimate opportunity? And they say, but I've been involved for the last 6 months, and see, here's my statement. I have received my money every month for the last 6 months. And I know of 3 other people that's also received their money. And by proving that it works, by proving that the money is paid, you feel that it's a legitimate opportunity. And I'll explain a little bit about how these things work. So a typical Ponzi scheme, and guys, I can't explain every different way they package this. I'm going to give you guys a very simple explanation. Don't phone me or don't send me an angry email and say, but the business opportunity I'm involved in doesn't do it this way. They do it that way. There's a whole bunch of different ways that they package this. But I'll give you an example. So let's say, for example, you join this opportunity, you invest 100,000 Rand. They would then take 20% of that, and that would go to the owner, the guy who started this thing. So 20,000 Rand he puts in his pocket, he puts it in an account somewhere. 20% goes to the upline. So that percentage gets paid to the people who recruited you or got you involved. And then 60% is used to pay your interest. So it's used to pay your money. So they take your own money and pay it back to you as proof that this is working. So if you take 100,000, 60% is there to pay your interest, and they guaranteed you 3% per month. That 60,000 can pay you for at least 20 months. So for 20 months, they can keep you going and prove to you that the system is working while there is actually no investment. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's difficult if I don't have pictures that I can draw. I always draw pictures, but hopefully that makes sense. So what then happens is they then go and you get 10 other people to invest 100,000 each. Now they've got R1 million. That R1 million, 20% goes to the owner. 200,000 he puts in an account somewhere. The other 20% gets paid to the people that to you because you recruited other people. So now you feel that this is a business. I am earning money from this. Look how much money I've earned last month. And then the 600,000 now has to pay 33,000 Rand a month. So it has to pay 30,000 Rand a month to the investors, the new investors, plus your 3,000. But now it won't, 600,000 won't pay that money for 20 months. It will only pay it for 15 or 16 months. So the period over which it can cover those expenses reduce. Then they have to get more investors in. More investors mean more cash flow has to go out. More money has to come in to keep it sustainable, but the period over which it's sustainable reduces. And eventually more and more and more people have to come on board every month to keep it going. And unfortunately, at some point, it will collapse because the amount of money coming in will become less than the amount of money that has to go out. At that point, the whole system collapses. And I think for those of you who know MMM, it was a system that was rampant in South Africa a couple of years ago. It was MMM. It was people just putting money in, and they were crowdfunding people for help. You could ask for support, and they would pay money to you. It was this whole thing. And exactly this happened. The money that was paid out got to a point where the money that came in was too little, and the whole thing collapsed. But the owner already put 20% of all those hundreds and hundreds of millions of rands in his own back pocket. So he made huge amounts of money. A lot of people did make money, but most people lost. And that is the problem with a Ponzi scheme. These things can take a long time before it gets to a point where it collapses. It can take years. Bernie Madoff is the biggest Ponzi scheme. Go and Google him. Go read what he did. Over a matter of years, he built a Ponzi scheme to the value of $64.8 billion. I want to say that again. $64.8 billion over probably 20 years in a Ponzi scheme. Eventually, it collapsed. So the fact that people tell you, but this company has been around for 5 years, we've got 3 million people already joined, does not mean that this company is working. It just means that they have extended the lifespan of that company through the way they recruit. And the more they can recruit, the longer this lifespan runs. So there's this myth that people always have, that get in first, because if you get in first, you will make some money. And it's true. Most people who start with one of these schemes at the very beginning do make money. So you can get into one of these new schemes, and within the first 6 months or a year or 2 years, you will earn some money and you'll probably not lose money. But the thing is, what you guys need to understand is that that money is somebody else's money that you're getting. The fact that you are earning that money means somewhere down the line, somebody is going to lose that money. The fact that it's not the person that you know directly, it's not the person, your mom, your uncle, your aunt, your brother, it's not those people, doesn't mean it's less of a detriment to people. You're still stealing money in the long run from people down the line. If there's no value, if there is no product, then you are stealing money from people. I don't care if those are people that you'll never meet, that you never heard about. You have to go and look at that and see, is this morally defensible? The fact that I'm in first and I'm not losing money doesn't make it morally defensible. So if you want to go to bed at night and go to bed and think to yourself, gee, I made some money today. I made some money in this scheme, knowing that somewhere down the line, some old person will lose their pension fund, or some person will lose their life savings because of what I'm doing. You need to really look at yourself in the mirror and say, is this what I stand for? I don't want that. I don't want to go to bed one night and think to myself, I've made $1 million this month, but somewhere down the line, I've taken somebody's pension fund away from them. I've taken somebody's financial security away from them. Then I'm not adding value. So the whole myth of, as long as I get in first, we need to look past that. We need to look a little further than that. So how do we know if an opportunity is a scam? I think all of us that's listening today have been approached with somebody somewhere that's got this opportunity, that's working and that's working for them, and they're so excited about it. So there's a few questions that I would give you that you can ask these people. The one thing, and the first thing I want you to know is trust no one. I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care if it's your best friend from school. I don't care if this guy is the pastor at church. Trust no one. Trust yourself and your gut instinct. And when I say that, I'm not saying that the pastor from church is going to come and consciously cheat you out of money. But he doesn't know. He hasn't been educated. So he's going to tell you what he's learned. And if he doesn't understand how these things work, he's going to convince you without really knowing what he's doing. So when I say trust no one, I mean educate yourself and trust your own gut feeling. One thing I want you to understand is past success does not guarantee future success. I'm going to say that again. Past success does not guarantee future success. Guys, people get recruited into these schemes because they see money on a statement. They see money in a bank account. The fact that that person has earned money doesn't mean the system is legit or successful. It just means that at this point, they are still pushing that thing forward until it eventually collapses. So past success does not guarantee future success. Get away from this thing of, oh, how much money have you made? Gee, okay, that's great. Let me join. That's not how you determine if something is a scam or not. So here's some questions. The first question is there a legitimate product or service sold at a market-related price? That's the first thing. What is this company's product? What are they selling? What is their service? What are they offering? What is the benefit they are giving people? And would I pay this money for that benefit? And that's the second question. You ask yourself, will I buy this product or service if I had no opportunity attached to it? So if somebody didn't approach me with a business opportunity and I could make some money, would I still buy this product? Will I still use this service? And if you say, if this toothpaste is like 120 Rand for a tube, I'm not going to buy it unless I'm part of the business. Then do not get involved in the business, because the product needs to be sustainable and legitimate. The third question is, where does most of my revenue come from? Is my revenue coming from sales of the product or service, or is my revenue coming from recruiting? And recruiting includes people that buy into the business and have to buy product up front to sell. If most of your money is made by getting other people to buy product which they can sell again, you need to have red flags go off. If most of your money is made from the legitimate sale of the product, then it's a legitimate company. Number 4, am I being paid a portion of the profit generated from the sale of a product or a service, or am I earning a percentage of someone else's investment? Guys, again, if you go and you have to, you get money directly from somebody else's investment. If somebody invests 10,000 Rand, 20,000 Rand, or 100,000 Rand, and you get 10% or 15% directly from the amount that they are investing, it is a Ponzi scheme. You do not get that money. You shouldn't get that money, because then it's just money changing hands. Here's the problem. Already when people are explained these Ponzi schemes, they are given these unbelievable returns. Let's go back to my example of 3% return per month on your investment. So if you get 3% per month, that investment of yours should give you 36% return per annum. Now just think of it logically. How many investments have you seen in the last couple of years that give you 36% return? But it gets worse than that. The moment 20% of that money is paid to the upline for commission, 20% is kept by the company or the owner or whoever you want to call, that means there's only 60%. There's only 60,000 Rand left that should give you 3,000 Rand a month. Suddenly, that investment should make 60% return per annum just to pay the investment back. Does that make sense? Does it make sense that guaranteed an investment will give you 60% return per annum every single year? And if you think about it that way, it does not make sense. Those things do not happen. Okay, the fifth one is a lot of these schemes say that you don't pay any fees for the investment. The investment is for free. You just put your money in. The question you have to ask yourself is, if I invest my money and there's no fees charged on my investment, how is this company making money? Where does their money come from? Because no company is going to do this, build platforms, build marketing plans, build infrastructure, go out and have events without money coming from somewhere. And if you don't know where they are making their money, I promise you they are using your money for them. So you have to ask that question, what is the cost? What is the fees on this investment of mine? And secondly, how does the company earn their return or their money? Number 6, this is one I enjoy, and a lot of people get almost offended when they talk to me and I ask them this question. And the question is this: who do I sue? So if I don't get my money back, who do I sue? Who is the person at the end of the line that I can take to court and say, I want my money back? And usually when you ask people this question, they can't answer you. They will give you this big hoo-ha about this international company that's located somewhere in some European country, and they're all over the world, and they now have a company in South Africa. The question is, who do I sue? Do I sue the South African company? Do I sue the company in the UK? Do I sue the company in one of the East Bloc countries? I don't know. Who do I sue? And once they tell you who you sue, you then go do your research around that company. Because it's pointless you sue a company and the company was registered 6 months ago and has no assets. Then what are you going to sue? You're going to just throw more bad money after good money. So if you don't have a company to sue, then don't put your money there. Because if they walk away with your money, you have no avenue. You can't go anywhere. Okay. The other thing is, understand the compensation plan. You need to understand, if it's a business opportunity and it's a legitimate business opportunity, they need to be able to explain to you properly so that you understand where your money is coming from. Do not take at face value when they say, you don't have to understand how the system works, just believe that the system works. Because see, this is what I've earned. Go back to my first one. Past success does not guarantee future success. You need to ask the questions. And what people will do is they will explain it to you in such a way that it looks like it's over your head. It's so complicated, and they'll almost make you feel stupid. And because you don't want to feel stupid, you go, oh, okay, and then you join. The thing is, that's what they prey on. They want you to feel stupid. They want you to feel like you shouldn't ask any more questions. Ask those questions. It's one of my favorite questions in the world. Why? Why is this like this? Why? And I'll keep asking why. You can ask my people that know me. I'll keep asking why until I get a proper answer that makes sense. I don't care if I look stupid. Why? Why is this working like this? Why doesn't it work that way? Why is this how the system works? Why am I earning money from there and not from there? You need to understand how the compensation plan works. If it's so complicated that even the person telling you about it doesn't understand it, do not get involved. If you don't understand where your money's coming from, don't join. Don't put money into an investment. Guys, I hope this gives you some insight in what to look out for when judging an opportunity. You are welcome to ask me some questions. There's a whole bunch of things that we can still talk about. I mean, I can talk about these things for 2 years, but yeah, let's see if there's some questions. So firstly, okay, so question I got here is, does that mean that there are no real opportunities out there? Guys, no, not at all. There are great opportunities out there. If you go and you ask these questions and you can properly answer them. Is there a legitimate product? Yes, this is a fantastic product. It's sold at a market related price. It's something I can get behind. Will I buy the product even if there's no opportunity? Yes, I will buy the product because I really believe in the product. Where does my revenue come from? From the sales. Yes, most of it comes from sales of the product or overrider on sales of the product. Are you being paid a profit from the sale or a percentage of someone else's investment? Yes, I'm being paid a profit from the sale. Is there any fees taken if it's an investment? Yes, there's fees taken. I know how this company makes their money. If you can answer all of those questions, you have a good opportunity, and then take it. Take the time, take the effort, put it in and become a success, because there are great opportunities out there for you to become successful. But guys, you have to ask the questions. You can't just believe because somebody you trust tells you about it. They also don't know. Okay, any other questions before we end off? I'll give a few seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8. Okay, we just got a comment from Jock. Yeah, Jock, thanks. He says, useful info. Thanks for sharing. It's so easy to fall for these types of things. It is, because these people are very convincing, especially if it's somebody close to you. If it's somebody that you trust that comes to you and says, but look what I've done. Look how much money I've made. And then we have, if we use the millennial slang, YOLO, FOMO, fear of missing out. We don't want to miss out. So we're always scared that, geez, just now I don't take this opportunity. He makes all the money and I sit and I miss that opportunity. Don't go there. Ask your questions. Take your emotion out of it and look at it logically. If you have a coach, if you have a wealth strategist, talk to them and ask them to help you make these decisions. If you joined and you realize that it is a scheme, Jakes, if you join and you realize that it is a scheme, how do you get out? Can you get your money back, or do you cut and run? The first thing, Jake, is I wouldn't put more money in. So it's pointless to throw more bad money after good money. So if you go and you say, I think this is a scheme, you try and pull your money out as far as you can, as quickly as you can. If they start running around, they start giving you the slip, etc., etc., if you want to hand them over, send them a letter, hopefully they are in that point in the business where they still want to continue. They don't want the negative connotation. So they'll maybe just pay you off to get your money out. But most of the time when these things collapse, people have very, very little recourse. Because what happens is, once that business gets liquidated and you put a claim, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand, if the company gets liquidated, and you are a creditor, you claim against that company, you say to that company, listen, this company owes me money. The creditors, the liquidators, can then come to you and ask you to contribute towards the company to pay all the creditors an equal amount. So they can come to you and say, listen, the company owes you 100,000 Rand. You have to add another 20,000 so that we can pay everybody 1 Rand per 1,000. So we're going to pay you 10,000 Rand back. So, yeah, a lot of these kind of things is once the thing collapses, there's not a lot of recourse. That's why you have to make sure beforehand, before you get in, that you are in the right thing. Brian, have you had your fingers burned before, and were you able to get your money back? Brian, yeah, luckily, I've made some mistakes. Years and years and years ago, I joined a company, a network marketing company, when I was still very young and started to research. I did buy, it was one of those companies where you had to buy like 10,000 Rands worth of products. And that years ago, that was quite a lot of money. I bought the products and then realized that the business is not about selling the products. It's more about recruiting and getting other people to buy products. I eventually did withdraw. I only got back, I think, 40% of the money I've put in. So I lost about 6,000 Rand there. So I have had my fingers burned, but luckily it's been negligible because I do ask a lot of questions. Okay, guys, thank you very much. If you have any questions, if you weren't comfortable to ask it on this platform, please contact us at info@retirehappy.co.za. You can phone us at 087-809-0603. I will be happy to help as far as I can and give some advice. Thank you for joining me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Cheers, everyone.